Welcome back to MMA Al Dente. I am the guy who picked Vitor Belfort to defeat Anderson Silva. And I'm here to talk about Vitor Petrino versus Tyson Pedro, the co-main event. My pick for this fight is Vitor Petrino. And it's mainly based on my faith in him as a young athlete and fighter. But my heart's not totally into it. And this is yet another fight where I'm just not betting on it. Think the odds are a little off. If anything, there's value on Tyson Pedro, but again, I'm not betting on it. I think Tyson Pedro has an advantage if he's able to get on top of Vitor Petrino. I think Tyson Pedro has a good top game, and Vitor Petrino, the one real weakness he's shown is his grappling, and even that's not such a big weakness because he's passed every test as a professional fighter. But I still think Tyson Pedro's best path to victory is getting on top of Vitor. Tyson's had success on top at the UFC level, submitting Saperbek Safarov. Uh, he submitted Khalil Roundtree, rear naked choke. He TKO'd Paul Craig from the crucifix position. He's definitely the more respectable ground fighter, in my opinion. But I don't think he's going to be able to take it there. I think Vitor Petrino is too strong of an athlete to let that happen in the first place. And Vitor is a guy who is on his way anyway to being a well-rounded fighter. He'll always be more known and respected on the feet because the guy's got bricks in his hands, a big, strong guy, and a violent knockout artist. And I believe that will be the case moving forward. I don't think he's going to change too much, even though he got a submission victory somewhat recently. But he did get a submission win somewhat recently. Got Marcin Prachnio out of there with a third round arm triangle choke, which impressed me a lot. And even more impressive was his win over Anton Turkalj. Although that was a close fight and it may not be the most dominant performance, may not impress you the most, but I thought it answered a lot of questions. Because that was a fight where I thought it was getting away from him in round two. I was sure Anton Turkalj was going to win that fight in the middle of round two. Not finish him in the middle of round two, but when I was watching it in the middle of round two, I was sure Turkalj was going to win. Took his back, was taking over the fight, and even in round three, had his back again. But Vitor Petrino denied all that, and he ended up coming back and winning the grappling battle. And I thought he looked good down the stretch against a guy that could have been a bad matchup for him. And again, he answered that question. And it was only a question in the first place because his one loss as an amateur was by grappling. He was taken down and mounted in all three rounds, and it was definitely his biggest weakness coming into his pro career. And he's been tested a little bit as of late, again by Anton Turkalj, and he passed that test. The only other real weakness I've seen of him is that he was knocked down against Rodolfo Bellato, whom he beat twice. And Rodolfo just made it to the UFC last year, got a big win over Ihor Potieria. But he knocked Bellato out twice. And in the rematch, he was knocked down first. And that's something, but he did recover very well. And again, in the end, took Bellato out. So he's looked perfect, and there's not a lot of reason to doubt him. And I think for him to lose against Tyson Pedro, of course, it could come from one of those kicks. Pedro's got excellent kicks, put away Harry Hunsucker and Ike Villanueva with kicks, leg kick and body kick. But I think on the ground is where it would come if he lost to Tyson Pedro. Pedro, again, getting on top of him and exploiting holes in his ground game. But I don't think Tyson Pedro is going to be getting this fight to the ground, even if he tries, which there's no telling if he'll try. But I think on the feet, Tyson Pedro will be trying to keep himself safe. And then by the time he finds his groove, he's going to be running out of gas. I just think he's up against it against Vitor Petrino on the feet. Vitor has the bigger knockout threat, even though Tyson has only been knocked out once. And it was the Shogun Hua. And that was after Tyson Pedro's knee was fucked up. So it's not even a real knockout loss. But this is a young 26-year-old killer. This isn't 52-year-old Shogun. Even though, again, Shogun knocked him out. And the one guy to submit Tyson Pedro was OSP, who's a monster on top. And he was able to get top position against Tyson Pedro against the cage and got him with a straight arm bar. But that's it. Tyson Pedro, he's still a pretty healthy fighter. He was out wrestled by Ilir Latifi way back when and outstruck by Modestas Pakauskas last year. Those are his other two losses. And I think Vitor Petrino would win the decision battle as well. I don't know if it looked like Ilir Latifi's, but I think it would be with him being a guy that can work hard down the stretch despite being built like a guy who probably shouldn't be able to do that. And I'd have him winning the decision as well. So picking Vitor Petrino. I'm not betting on it until the props open up and I throw all my fucking money away. And I'm hoping to see Vitor tested mainly. I want to see Tyson Pedro get on top of him or hurt him in one way or another. And I want to see Vitor answer more questions. Like, share, subscribe, all that horse shit. Check out my other videos.